H2K Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys supports 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus. One-time pay, lifetime access to live classes and videos. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For free demo class, visit h2kinfosys.com.
Welcome to another video of H2K Infosys. So in this particular video, we will see another example of encapsulation. And since encapsulation is a concept of OOPS, I have also some details and theoretical knowledge on encapsulation. So let's go about it. First of all, what is encapsulation as far as Java language is concerned? It's a mechanism of wrapping up the data. Data are nothing but variables which are declared with datas. Okay, so it's a wrapping up of datas and the code acting on the data. That means methods which acts on the data defined in the variables. And together, all these two things, wrapping up the data which are present inside the variables with the methods which can manipulate the variables or modify the variables data, wrapping it together is called as an encapsulation. So wrapping up it together in a single unit will consist of variables declared with data, and those variables declared with data can be manipulated or modified using the methods present inside the class file, and that is can be wrapped up together. The single unit can be called as encapsulation. In other words, encapsulation is nothing but the variables of a class will be hidden from other classes. That's what it means. So you define a variable in a particular class, it will be hidden from other classes. So other classes will not be able to use the variables defined in a particular class. That is what encapsulation does, and can be accessed only through the methods of the current class. Therefore, it is also known as data hiding. So you can hide the data by making the data encapsulate in such a manner that variables present in the data can be only accessed by the methods present in the class in which the variables are defined. Other classes cannot use those variables defined in other classes, and that is encapsulation. To achieve encapsulation in Java, what do? We first declare the variables of a class as private. Okay, so we can define the variables of a class as private and provide public setter and getter methods. This is very important. Provide public access specifier setter and getter methods to modify and view the variable values. So you provide public setter and getter methods. Set method is to set the variable data. Get method is to get the method variable data. So the setter and getter methods will be your public access specifier, which will be used to modify and view the variable values. So first of all, you need to declare the variables of a class as private and then provide public setter and getter methods to modify or view the variable values. Benefits of encapsulation. If you look at the benefits are these. The fields of a class can be made read only or write only. Fields of a class can be nothing but the constructors, the variables, and the methods. A class can have total control over what it is stored in its field, obviously, by using encapsulation. I can have total control over the data that you declare in the field and how do you manipulate and modify data present in the variables through the encapsulation technology. The users of the class do not know the class stores its data. So the user of a particular class will not know how the class is storing its data, in what particular format and what is the variable type and all those things. What is the access specifier of the variable? A class can change the data type of a field and users of a class do not need to change any of their codes. That is what the benefits of encapsulation is. So let us look at a particular example. I've already set up an example. So I'll open up Eclipse and show you that particular example. Let me close these. Okay, I've created a session project called session 31 in which I've created a package called encapsulation. In this particular package, I have two class file, encapsulation test, where the encapsulation is initiated, and this encapsulation test class will be accessed by run encapsulation. So run encapsulation will not know how are the variables defined in the encapsulation test class, or how the methods set up in the encapsulation test class. Run encapsulation will be only able to run the datas. So run encapsulation would not know how the variables are being set, what are their access specifiers, what is the data type it has. It is only able to get the data. That's all. And similarly, the run encapsulation will also be able to get the results of the methods. How are the method sets in the encapsulation test class? What are their access specifiers and what are their return type? Not of concern for run encapsulation class file. So let us first see what is defined inside the encapsulation test class file. So it's a public class, can be accessed across. And now if you see, look, the variables are defined private. So that is what we do. We actually define the variables as private. So if you go back to our slide and look at, you declare the variables to achieve encapsulation, you declare the variables of a class as private, and that is what has been done out here. So there's a variable called name, id, num, and age, which are private and having what do you call data type as string, and integer respectively. And if you look at the setter and getter methods present in the encapsulation test class file, these are public. So these are your public methods. So this public method is what? To get the age. This is a get method. So we have setter and getter method. Get method will get the current age, and the age is a global variable which is of integer type and private. So you can just use public integer get age and return age. Okay. Then I can, there's another getter method called get name. So just string get name and return the name. This returns the name of the name that you have specified as a private global variable. Similarly, this is a getter method again to get the ID number. So get ID number, return ID number. ID number is a global variable having private as the access specifier and string as the type of data that can be put. And these three are your setting method setters, which are having public access specifier. So you just have to define the parameter value out here and pass on the change parameter value to the global variable age. That is what has been done. Similarly, for your name and for your ID, you pass on the new name to the global variable name, and global variable name is private. All these are private. So this is a private global variable that is part of your encapsulation, and the setter methods and the getter methods. So these are getter methods which are public, and these are setter methods which are public, and that is what has been defined to achieve encapsulation. Now, if you go back, there's another class called run encapsulation. So this class is a public class, and inside the main method, I have created an object of the encapsulation test class. Now, what I am trying to do, I'm trying to set the name. I do not need to know what is the access specifier for this and what is the return type of this. Set name is a method, and since it's a public method inside the encapsulation test class, I can access it. Set name, set age, and set ID username or ID number, and then I can get a println command to get the name, age, and the ID number. Okay. Now the thing is that when you give the name, this name comes out here in the as a parameter value, and this name is set. This parameter value called new name is set to the global variable name, which is a private variable out here, global variable out here. So as a run encapsulation class file, it doesn't need to know what are the access specifier for set name or set age or set ID num, or what are the return types of this. These are public, and that is why it can be called with the object of the encapsulation test. Okay, and you can set the names. Okay, and these names will be stored in the memory, which can be accessed by this particular class called run encapsulation. It doesn't need to know what are the variables inside this class, what are the different type of variables and the access specifier for the variables, and or rather what is the return types for these methods. Since it is a public access specifier used for these methods, it can be accessed by creating an object of the encapsulation test. This is an example of encapsulation. If you have any questions, please revert to us, and thanks for the understanding.